What is the good word, everybody? Welcome back to the State of Basketball. This is your man's the commish, the one, and I'm joined by, the big man in the middle, Mr. Storm. And this is a BW Sports One original podcast brought to you by several people. Rogue Energy, BeeLit Organics, BaumBurgers, Revved Up Tattoos, and Carma Coin. So check the website to get up with all the links of our great partners and sponsors. Hey, bro, this is a special series. Are you ready for it?
Oh, I'm so ready for it. I've been ready for it since the inception of the show. It's about big man, which is definitely one of the roles I played in my career. So let's get going, man.
Yes, this is the under the boards roundtable discussion where we get a lot of our basketball friends from across our media network, and we just discuss things that are basketball. And today, like you said, is the big man, the past relic or a future dominant that is evolved. So we got a nice panel for you guys today. So let's go ahead and bring these guys in for you. First up, we got Mr. Chad Novinger. If you guys know the youth basketball scene on the women's side, he is attached with the IGB community, and he is all over the place. Hey, Chad, what's going on, buddy?
What's happening, guys? Glad to be here.
Always a pleasure. And then we got here Mr. Cool C. What up, Corey Cannon, LN grad, youth sports extraordinaire.
What's going on, guys? I appreciate the opportunity. Ready to get it started.
Always a pleasure. And then we got here, you've seen him on the show before, Mr. Coach T.J. Perry. Again, a person that you've seen in the youth scene. He's, India Elite youth basketball coach. And this guy's an assistant coach at the Carmel High School now for the girls basketball. Love it, love it, love it. What up, TJ?
What's up, fellas? Looking forward to another fun show. Hopefully we can enjoy this as much as last time.
Awesome. And then bringing up the rear, but not last, one of our followers from the BW Sports Network. What up, Mr. PJ McDonald? What's going on, bro? I think he went mute on us.
Definitely appreciate y'all coming in, man. Sorry for the technical difficulties there, but appreciate y'all having me for sure.
Awesome. So let's introduce everybody and let them know a little bit about your background with the basketball and what you are currently doing, and then we'll get into it. So let's start off with you, Corey. What you got going on, bro?
You say start off with me. I'm sorry. I'm having a little technical difficulties, but I think you start off with me in regards to basketball background, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, sir. Myself, played basketball with you. Lawrence North grad, played 4 years for Jack Kiefer. Played a couple of years, obviously my junior high background. Basically, I've been playing basketball all my life and coached basketball as well. From adults, obviously that includes you as well, to an undefeated record. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I have an extensive basketball knowledge of the game and whatnot. So that's me.
Awesome. Great to have you on the show, my good man. And we're going to throw some LN shots out at some point in time. Let's see who's up. TJ, tell the people about you.
The Indiana boy, not quite born and raised, but raised. Columbus North High School grad, played there, and then went on to play at Butler University. Played a lot of pro-am ball down at Arlington back in the day when they were running all that out of Arlington in the summertime. And then once I had some kids, I started getting involved with coaching. So I've been doing it now about the last 10 years and just keep getting deeper in it. Was doing the Indiana Elite for the last, AAU anyway, for the last 6 years. And here recently, June 1, started with Carmel High School. So stepping into another realm.
Awesome. Chad, you're bringing it up. What you got, bud?
Yeah, Chad Novinger played locally here at high school, college, pro-am circuit. Didn't really hit my groove until I was about 25 years old, where I dominated the local YMCAs for a while. Dedicated my life the last 6 years with along with TJ, I think we're two of the guys that have probably had one of the biggest influences on girls basketball, making sure that everyone has an opportunity to play, making these girls better. All I can tell you with these guys, with TJ and what we're doing, youth basketball, especially on the girls' side, is in really good hands right now. You're going to see a lot of good play coming up. So excited to be here and happy to be with y'all.
And that I can agree with you on that. Both of you guys have had your hand in it. You know, since my daughter started playing years ago, I've seen you guys' faces all over the youth scene, especially the girl side. And we just, you know, our paths just have crossed. So that's pretty cool. Mr. McDonald, tell us about you, bud.
Man, I'm just a fan. You know, I've been playing basketball pretty much my whole life. Grew up here in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Won 2 state titles there in high school, back to back. 08-09. Shout out to my guys that may be watching. Went on and played college ball 4 years, and then really just started picking up playing some little bit semi-pro, and then play men's league. As he said, you know, Chad said he dominated some YMCA leagues. We got a couple leagues down here like that, and really just a fan of the game, man. A student of the game, I would still say, at the age of 29. So appreciate being on here for sure.
Well, you are definitely the youngest person on this panel.
Hey, I'll live in it, man. It's all right. I'll live in it.
All right. Well, hey, let's get it started. Let's get into what we all joined up to take care of. So the big man, you know, like most of us, you know what I'm saying, even Mr. McDonald with his 29 years of experience, most of us have remembered the big man being a fixture in the paint, not very movable or not very mobile, very limited on their skill set. But as the game is involved, so has the position of the big man. It has evolved. So I'd like to start off with some of the memories of how we grew up with, we grew up with the ball being played inside the paint. Now, remember, it's still played inside the paint. I just think it's changed how it's played inside the paint. Because even now, back in the day, when we watched teams dominate, most of the teams that won championships had paint game. Even today's champions still have a paint game. It's just played differently. And they're still a dominant player on these championship games. Last year, you had Anthony Davis, who was a dominant post player. This year, you had Antetokounmpo, who is a dominant post player. He just plays it differently. So I'm going to start off with Storm about what you think is what's going on with the state of the big man right now.
I just feel like, so let's just start when my era growing up. So I'm a 70s baby, late 70s baby. So I remember Kareem. I remember Patrick Ewing. I remember Hakeem the Dream. I remember Rick Smits because I'm here, Pacer fan, first and foremost. So I remember those type of centers. And a lot of them at that time was moving a little towards more that it was drop steps, baby hooks, and maybe that mid-range step back jump shot, maybe that turnaround jump shot. But I feel like now it's moved from that. Also something you can run your offense through. It was a focal point. Let's start down low, and either you get that easy basket or you're able to throw it out for a three-pointer that's definitely more better chance of making. So from that, the skill set had changed. So then a lot of your taller players started dribbling more, started running the break. The point forward started getting taller, more athletic, more able to just have coordination. And when that came, you also had the little blip in it, right? You had that one dominant Shaquille O'Neal. I was in that era as well. So he came in dominant. And he didn't need free throws. He didn't need any of that. He was dominant. Definitely reminded you a lot of Wilt back in his day. And now we're to the point where a lot of them are shooting threes, running the break. I feel like offenses have gone away from starting that focal point of let's start down low and then move out and see what happens to getting to the point now it's all about analytics. We get more threes up if the percentages look well. And with that comes with a different style of play. I feel like the fans are interested in a faster paced game. The one thing about dumping it down low, it was kind of muddy. So it wasn't, maybe for some people who weren't diehard fans, it wasn't an easy game to watch. So I feel like all of these, I mean, I want to give everyone else, time to talk, but I feel like there's so many variables to go into this. So that's my time for now, and we can move it on to someone else. Who's next?
So let's look at this angle. Let's go with the fan angle. BJ, I'd like to hear what you have to say, because you're from the younger side of it. You got to see more of the Shaq dominance, and then more of the more, I want to say, mobile or more skilled big man. How far back? Yeah, how far back past Shaq did you see of the bigs? Because with your age group, the big man was a little more skilled than what we grew up watching.
Right. I remember like Dikembe Mutombo, guys like that who literally got points off of rebounds and putbacks and then just played defense. Like, you couldn't score in the lane with guys like that because you had big fellas down there that A, could touch you, and B, can put you on the ground and not even get a foul call. So I think physicality wise, it's changed a little bit. Based off of what Storm said, it did start on the block, but I think now with the skill set that the bigs have today, with the Jokic, the Anthony Davis, I even put Kevin Durant in that situation because he's a 7-footer. But the offense now starts at the high post, and you work your way off of that, whether that's off of ball screens, down screens. You're trying to find a way to get shooters open, and the best bigs are able to work at that high post right now. And that's where the game has kind of moved out because of the three-point shooting and the spacing that we now have in the game.
Right. TJ, let me come to you on that, kind of spinning off what he was saying with the development of the high post. Because I feel that when we were playing, we were still using the 1-4 or the double stack or the high post set with your bigs up. I just feel now they do more of that with their guards than per se their bigs. Like, they're putting their bigs in the corners, and letting the guards orchestrate off the high post. But it's a little different than when we played, when you played in the NCAA circuit.
I would say, and my last game was against Danny Fortson, and I'll never forget, one of the most physical dudes out there at the time. Played him in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But I also look back a little farther than that. When you look and you watch the Bad Boys and you watch that ESPN documentary with Jordan and the Jordan rules and everything that kind of changed, and a lot of that I think was from a physicality standpoint. And I think the NBA pretty much drives everything. When you look at what the fan wants, and you mentioned it, what the fan wants. That was a physical basketball. I mean, it was honestly assault when you watch it today. And looking at that, that's definitely evolved as time has come. And they want to see points. They want to see scoring. And with that, the NBA way back started freeing up pretty much every 2 or 3 years. There were a lot of rule changes that started to come into play. So I think some of what was dictated from the top at the NBA level, that kind of filtered its way into the college level and the high school level and then into the youth. Because that's what the kids watch. I mean, if you're my era, like a lot of you are, you watch CBS every Saturday and especially on Sunday, and you saw the Boston Celtics, the LA Lakers, the Houston Rockets, and that was really all that was on CBS. But obviously the influence and what they watch, there's a whole lot more out there. But I do believe that the NBA has driven a lot of it. The analytics, as well as the scoring, as well as the entertainment side of it. And I think contracts, players don't want to get beat up. If you're in the NBA right now, you're timing your contracts every 3 to 4 to 5 years. These guys, the money, there's so much money in there. They're small corporations. So there's so much going on, I think, at a higher level. And I think a lot of that's evolved. And I think a lot of that's been trickled down to what the kids watch. And because that's what they watch, just like that's what we watched. They're watching a different game than what we watched when we grew up.
Hey, Chad, let's go on the youth side of this. How do you think it's changed so much, and now how we develop the youth? I know you guys not the word. I know you guys tend to work more on the female side of the sport, but y'all see these tournaments where the boys and the girls are mixed. How do you see the training of the bigs now? I feel that even myself, I think we train them more towards the guard skills with big skills instead of just training them to be basketball players.
Yeah. You know this firsthand because I had you come in and help my team a couple times this year. We appreciate the big man, and we want to work on the post skills because you run into a team that's got a big that knows how to play big and does it the right way, you're in trouble. I mean, that's we can run with any team that's out there, but if we run into a girl that's just so dominant inside and can get those 20 rebounds and has the post skills, I mean, it changes everything. It changes. You can't drive the ball inside because they clog the paint. They get every rebound. They get easy putback buckets. It totally changes the game if you have a dominant big. And being from Indiana, I mean, we remember the Davis boys, Antonio and Dale. I mean, they changed every game because nobody wanted to drive the ball inside because they knew if you did drive the ball in and the Davis boys were inside, you were getting killed by the time you got there. And today everyone watches Steph Curry, and I'm representing Dirk because I wanted to be Dirk when I was playing at 25 in the YMCA, shooting 3-pointers instead of being in the post like I should have been. But that's what's cool today is you go watch the youth kids play, and everybody's playing like Steph Curry now because trying to score 40 points is cool. But I mean, nobody dominated a game like Dennis Rodman, 30 rebounds and 2 points. How valuable is that? Nobody, you get a kid on the high school circuit today. I know TJ coaches at Carmel. If you got a kid that can get you 30 rebounds and 2 points, they're on the floor the entire time, point blank. I mean,
Yeah, y'all got one. They got one in Noblesville. They just don't play her.
well,
Danny Mendez.
I gotta be careful there. This is gonna be live, but you're right.
Yeah. I'll say it. You don't have to say it. I'll speak for Noblesville and Carmel. I'll say it. We're good. But no, I agree with you on that. But I also think that we got to factor in the European style of basketball. You know what I mean? When those guys like Dirk and them came into the game, being that they were shooters, it stretched the floor a little more, made the floor a little more open. So you had to adapt here in America. So we went from physical bigs to skill bigs like, and I agree with you, Kevin Durant, you're 7 foot, you're big. Regardless, I mean, your crossover is still taller than most point guards. So you're still a big.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Big Smooth, baby. He changed everything. He changed everything.
I agree. So, but then you add, and I'm watching the Olympics and I watch a little FIBA basketball now. I think that the European game has switched. I think the European big is going back to that dominant power big. If you just watch the Olympics, what gave the United States team the difficulties? The team
Bigs.
with bigs
and quick
You know what I'm
guards
saying?
and shooters.
Yeah, teams with bigs, because Spain, if Rubio made a couple more shots, the Gasol brothers would have been effective. And you saw what France did, with an effective big. If Rudy could actually had an offensive skill set, I think they could have gave a little more scare into the United States. So I think that we have to factor in the international players as well when we go into this. Go ahead.
I think Gobert definitely does have a skill set. I just feel like the NBA game is sped up to the point where there's not time. That's the one thing the bigs at times needed was time. Everything is bam, bam, bam shot versus let's pound it down. Let's use this clock a little bit. And Charles Barkley took advantage of that to the point where they changed the rule and added that 5-second rule. But at the same time, just giving them that opportunity. And another thing with big, as far as back in the day versus now, not having that ball handling skill, was you had to be given the ball. You couldn't just take the ball, go down and post up. It was situations where you had to wait for someone to decide to give you the ball. You can call for it, you can do all you want, but you have to be given the opportunity. So I feel like that's definitely something that needs to be taken into account as far as that goes. Definitely the fact that the skill set has gotten better. The European game is definitely taken some sort of effect, even though I feel like what we talked about Joker earlier, you can still get an MVP if you have knowledge of the game, post moves, and being able to pass the ball with a nice shot.
I think development too plays a big part of it, because At this point, you don't know how big a kid's going to be. You don't know how big a girl's going to be. You don't know when they're going to grow. So at the end of the day, if you're doing it right, you should be developing them positionless from the beginning. So they got to have all the skill sets to play basketball, regardless of what that is. And honestly, I think that if you're not doing that, you're really doing a disservice. And then if they evolve into a big, then you can enhance and add more to that. And the reality is you don't see many special bigs. I think the last one we can all really agree upon is Shaq, right? I mean, just that big, just dominant. Didn't matter. Everything at the bucket, everything dunked. There's a few that are shot blockers and defensive specialists, but even like a Gobert, who's Defensive Player of the Year, still doesn't have the offensive prowess to really impact games per se on the one end of the floor. Shaq was doing it on both ends of the floor.
But I feel like we haven't seen it. We haven't had opportunity to see it. They don't run sets for him that I've seen a whole lot of. So I get it. There's probably a reason for that. But I feel like Gobert could have a game if given the opportunity and to slow it down and just give him a chance.
His game offensively, though, is so limited as far as his jump hook. I mean,
that?
I don't know.
How do we know? How do we know?
He's been in the league way too long for us to know, and then he doesn't do it, and he doesn't even do it in his international ball with his team ball. You don't see any offensive there's no set for Rudy Gobert. We don't call
unless
a play for Rudy Gobert. I think the only person close that we had, the lob,
pick and roll,
but somebody's creating for him on that,
right? But somebody's creating. I think the only guy that we have right now in the league who can really say that they are a true big and can dominate a game from the post. I think Giannis can. He just wants to do more because he listens to the people say you need to shoot jump shots. You know what I mean? But I think the only guy that we had, that's where I was going. Embiid is probably the only one that we have right now that we can give the ball to and can do something. The Joker does. He does if he has the time. His movements are too slow, but he makes plays. His goal, like Storm, like that's one of the reasons why I love playing with Big Storm back in the day. He was a big that was dominant. He wasn't dominant because that's what about his offensive set, even though he could do it. He was dominant because of the things that he did on the floor. He made plays. You know what I mean? Joker makes plays. But if you take the playmaking out of it, I don't know if you can really just sit there and pound the ball to him and let him go at it time and time and time again like you could with Embiid. Embiid has everything. Mm-hmm. And now he's getting the idea like, I shoot the jump shot because I want to. I don't shoot the jump shot because the game dictates that I have to.
I think that goes into the realm that me and Storm were talking, pre-show about Embiid. I think Embiid has all the tools to be great. He does. But I don't think he has that mentality yet. And it takes a big in the NBA to learn where he fits. And I think when they do get rid of Simmons, whenever that is coming soon, it's going to be Embiid and all the pressure is going to be on him. So he's going to have to step up. I think he'll be ready. But as far as dominant big man, I think, like you said, Storm, I think Embiid is that guy, to be honest.
I think he's got that mentality.
About, what you saw in the finals. What do you feel about this center, Ayton, out of Phoenix, for what you saw this past playoff series? You feel like he has potential to be, because I feel like he has post moves, he has the hook, he has the jump shot, the drop step, and also can do the high pick and roll lob. So what are you guys' thoughts on him? And then maybe Cat Williams too.
I'm gonna let him go. I'm gonna let that one go through. But I'm here. I like what you're saying with that, with DeAndre Ayton. I love his skill set. I love his ceiling point. But in that finals, it showed that he was not mentally ready for that challenge. I think
Embiid, can he get there? I think
he can get there.
Shaq didn't win his first.
Hey, I think he can get there because he has that mentality. It's just you have to learn. You have to lose to win. You know what I'm saying? And I think he figured that out. And Embiid has figured that out with that Kawhi Leonard and how hard he worked last year. Because I think if he's healthy, I think if Embiid does not get hurt last year, I think he's the MVP. And I think Philly makes it further than they should have. I think Philly plays for the championship if Embiid is healthy throughout the year and doesn't get hurt again right in the finals with the meniscus.
I don't know if, and I know this is off topic, but I don't know if Embiid and Simmons, I feel like for whatever reason they just are not vibing.
Oh, Simmons needs to go.
Yeah, they're not
That's
vibing.
obvious.
Yeah. Simmons. So, what do you think about Embiid or DeAndre Ayton, Chad or TJ?
I would say with Embiid, the one thing he can still do is stretch the floor. Again, you get back to some of that European.
Right.
He can step out just like Joker can, and they can knock down a three. Now, Ayton, he doesn't have that in his bag yet. But what Ayton does have is he's got a motor. You know, and you said, is he there yet? No, but he does compete, and he does have a motor. And a lot of these guys, you got to have a motor. You got to have a want to get to that point. And again, he's still developing. He's young. He's gonna learn from these experiences. But again, I agree with everything you're saying with Embiid. But at the same time, he can still stretch the floor, right? He can still come out and he will shoot the three effectively, just like Joker will, and use it to stretch those bigs that have to come out and guard him and take him away from the paint and take him. Because if you're a defensive player only and you got to come out and guard a Joker or an Embiid and knock down a three, then you took away a Rudy Gobert really out of the game defensively because he's got to come out and guard.
Yeah. How much do you guys think youth coaches and youth parents are affecting the big man? Because Ayton's young, but I think, talking about Mackenzie, we used to play her when she was little and she would dominate us. And the coach could throw it down to her and then she could score every time and they'd win by 40. But youth coaches aren't letting bigs dominate, so they don't want to be bigs because – they're not going to play that way because parents are going to be unhappy.
I think I'm gonna attack that one on a different angle. I'm gonna attack it like this. I think on both sides, the youth level struggles with the paint in the paint because you have too many individuals that don't know the game, affecting these kids' growth in the game at an early age when they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk bad about some of these township youth organizations because I think they do great work. Like Carma Pups, I think they're great. The Millers, Noblesville, their youth program is great. But the problem is all of the people, all the coaches, all the things are volunteer parents. Yep. You have too many parents that want to coach their kids just to coach their kids, not to make these young women and men better basketball players. That's where I think it is.
Yeah, but even if they are, TJ knows the bigs, I know the bigs, you know the bigs, but even if we do, it's hard to keep everyone happy because you have 8 kids and you have one big kid that's bigger than everyone else that could just dominate, and you can't just let them go play big and dominate because it's not the cool thing to do because you're not involving all the other kids. I see it so often where a big kid could dominate the game. And then what happens is after they don't let them, then they want to go do the other stuff. Then they want to play point guard because the coach's kid's playing point guard, or, the point guard always has the ball. So the big kid doesn't want to dominate because they're not letting them dominate.
There's a lot of facts to that, Chad. You're spot on. And again, I think a lot of it is age appropriate at the youth level. There's certain age levels that you need to be doing certain things. And from that perspective, I agree. You do have kids that will just dominate early, but then they eventually get past. But at the end of the day, if you're serious about development and really developing kids and youth and basketball, you got to be developing them positionless until they establish what they are and who they are. You got to really be building all skill sets at all times.
But when does it stop? I've seen kids in 3rd grade that could dominate, in 6th grade that could dominate because they're big, and now they're high schoolers and they could dominate for the big, and they still don't use them. They still don't want to use them. They use them as screeners. They use them as
that's coaching mentality. That's coaching philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see it, and hopefully it'll change with your influence over at the high school level. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to say anything bad about Coach Trimpey. I think she's an excellent young learning coach, but she's a guard. You know what I'm saying? All your offenses are designed for guards. When you have a dominant post player or a post player who can draw double teams that create open shots for other people, then you got to be able to use it. But you got guards. I think you have way too many guards trying to coach bigs. You know what I mean? Especially at the I want to say the high school level. You know, in the youth level, I mean, when you get like middle school and things like that, I think it all blends together. But then when you come to the high school level, you have high school coaches. You have these people who have resumes that have been doing this, that have state champions and all this type of stuff, and you don't utilize your all your positions that are available. I think politics have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean, not politics, but you know, high school township politics. I mean, there's a lot of it in Hamilton County. So, I mean, and there's a lot of it everywhere, but it plays out. You know, you have kids whose parents bitch the loudest. So their coach has to do this because the athletic director or the boosters are saying, well, my kid needs to play. You know what I mean? You have all those things in the youth sports, and it kind of frustrates me because my daughter has been, and I'm not saying it just because it's my daughter, but I've seen the disrespect that she's got and all the hard work that she's done because she's not a guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that too, on top of that, like in a mindset as a younger player, you're going to say, okay, I'm as good as that person. I'm going to go do what they do. You know what I mean? That to me, I was a big going into college. I'm 6'5". I was a big going into college at 180. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do to change my game to where I can be on the floor? I take charges, play defense, and then I developed the jump shot because I knew that's where the game was going. So I think it's also a player's mentality as well. We can put the pressure on the coach and the parents as well, because don't get me wrong, they deserve their fair share of it. But I think the player also has to accept the ability to want to do those things. Too many times we see kids, especially on the guys' side of things, because I know it's more of a video game thing, but they're playing 2K, and how many times do you see kids go out there and try to do between the legs dribbles because they saw Steph Curry do it 2 nights before? It's an acceptance of the kid and the parents as well, allowing their kids to do stuff like that.
Yeah. How much you think that is due to what the NBA chooses to market?
Tons.
100%.
I mean, that's what they're marketing. That's what the kids are seeing. So that's what they want to be. They're not doing a big marketing campaign for Joker and B, but more of his personality than his skill set.
When you hear the commissioner, go ahead, TJ. When you hear the commissioner clearly state it, you know, this is entertainment. You know, we're in the entertainment business. These guys are getting paid millions and millions of dollars in contracts that are now just absolutely enormous. And their salary caps are growing each and every single year. I mean, the way that even the mentality of the athlete changes, you know, their conversations around, you know, they look at them as small corporations. You know, that's basically what they are. They're all small corporations, and they're looking at the bottom line. They're looking at how to extend their careers. You know, there's just so many things that have changed from that perspective versus the guy like Larry Bird that, you know, had skill, retired when he was 32, 33 with a bad back, but he was throwing his body all over the court every single night. Was that in his best interest financially? No, but he was there to win, right? At the end of the day, he was there to win. Not to say players today aren't there to win, but I think mentality is definitely a big, big part of that.
So you think people put more value on monetary contracts now than winning championships?
You gotta look at it a little bit different. And you know, I've been around Chris Thomas, who's trained a lot of NBA guys, and so the conversations we have and the conversations he's having with a lot of his NBA players, it's interesting to listen to. And I've gotten a lot more feedback in the last 6 years to hear some of that as to just, you know, the thought process. And then with a lot of these guys coming out of college early, they're looking at how many sets of terms can they get in their contract cycle. So it is a legitimate thought and a legitimate plan as to how I'm going to get, you know, to the end. And what's that look like? And how many years might that window be?
Man, okay. So I guess the love of the game is gone. I mean, I guess it's the love of the dollar.
The definition of love of the game maybe has changed. Because back in the day,
is it the love of what the game can give you?
Yeah, probably. But we love the game. Like, I'm 40, man. I just started playing again. Like, I cannot give this up. Like, I've been playing since I was in kindergarten.
Same.
You know, as long as I'm healthy enough to play, I'm gonna play. The longest I've been away has been 2 years. But I mean, that to me is love, where it gets to the point where you're paying to play versus getting paid to play.
Yeah.
Getting paying to play with some bullshit ass refs.
What's crazy is you know, you guys are both wearing Michigan, so you guys know this player, and I don't know if you mind me taking this direction, but we talk about the big man, but look at Luka Garza, prime example, national player of the year, big man. Iowa dominated inside, was the guy that went and got those 20 rebounds, you know what I'm saying, every week, and was dominating. Footwork is nice. Post game is nice. Pre-catch is nice. But yeah, he goes into the second round in the NBA and gets, you know, a slight deal with the Pistons to give a chance. You know, that just tells you where the big man's at as far as the NBA.
And he can shoot. And he has a decent mid-range, you know, step-out jump shot. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. Like, you see bigs.
His defense. He's slow-footed.
So what Storm was saying, he can't get back on defense. The game is too fast. I was telling my wife the other day, you know, during Summer League, I'm like, watch, he's going to sprint back because that's what they told him. He's going to have to sprint back every time because he's so big.
But he's been sprinting back his whole career. I mean, you gave Tyler Hansbrough, you know what I mean, a shot. You can't give Luka Garza a shot. I think he's a good guy for somebody's program. But you can't field those type of players, or at least in a permanent role on a college bench. I mean, on the NBA bench. You can fill him. He's gonna give you, you know, 8 to 12 minutes a game, but he's not gonna give you, you know, 25 to 38 minutes a game. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. One, most bigs that he's playing against, you know, can handle the rock and move by. But that's the difference with college basketball and the NBA basketball's entertainment side of it. He's not entertaining.
Right.
He's not going to put people in the seats. Yeah. They're not going to go to Detroit to see Luka Garza. They're going to go to Detroit to see Cade Cunningham from Oklahoma State, by the way, who is a fabulous basketball player.
I have a question for Chad and Coach.
Yep.
How much do you guys feel like spacing is huge in this? Because I feel like some of it is spacing where they're so guard heavy with the penetration and things of that nature. We just get out of there and let us do our thing.
Yeah, spacing is enormous. I mean, TJ and I both train our kids to do things the right way. We screen. We teach everybody screening. Everybody's spacing the floor. Everybody knows how to play every position. But it's a lost art. You go watch high school basketball right now. Everybody is trying to penetrate. Just penetrate. And I think it's because so many coaches, youth coaches, they're all running 5 out. They're all throw the ball to the outside, space the floor. Let's get the ball to our best athlete who can beat the defender in front of him and get to the basket and win games.
So do you feel like that is kind of hurt the big man? It's
hurting the game. It's hurting the game for sure.
I would say certainly spacing is a big thing. And when you don't see it, I'll say it this way, as a coach, and I watch this every weekend. I think I did 130 games I coached this summer. And when you see the lane and it's clogged up and you got kids in drive lines and you got opportunities, and yet somebody either gets in the way or goes to the wrong spot, and that's not even a big, but they're just in the way. They're clogging up space from a game that honestly can be at sometimes more efficient based on skill set. Obviously, you don't have a lot of dominant bigs. Most teams don't. I mean, you'll occasionally run into those at the national level. You're not going to see a bunch at the local level. But the bottom line is the spacing becomes so important. And I think it's even more important on the girls' side, only because they're not as long as the boys. They're not quite as athletic as the boys. They don't cover as much ground as the boys. So when you space the floor, there's going to be a lot more opportunity on a couple ball reversals, dribble drive kick, whatever the scenario might be, baseline drift, any of that. The spacing becomes almost indefensible after some time. You're going to see breakdowns, if not many.
Yeah, I think like we go back to the fact that we need to teach our youth the whole facet of the game. I think that's what we did back in our days when we was learning how to play the game with our different coaches in different high schools. I was fortunate to play for it, and I wish Corey was still on, but he got a little busy. I wish he was still on, but I was fortunate to play for one of the better big man coaches in Indiana back in the day was for Jack Kiefer was Coach Irwin. Chad, I know you know Linda, her husband, Coach Irwin's taught me everything I know about being in the paint. And that's kind of how I teach Mackenzie. I want her to know paint work, but I also want her to know the other side of the game. Because let's face it, I mean, you're just under 6'2" now, but you're 16. You're not going to grow too much more. So you're going to be a 3 if you get to the next level. So I can't focus all of my training on back to the bucket, jump hook, and all that type of stuff. I have to develop a jump shot. We have to develop ball skills. We have to be able to shoot off the ball, shoot with a hand in our face, and things of that nature. So I think you still have to develop the big as a player. But I think as they get bigger and more dominant, then you have to pay attention to that big side of the things.
I got a question for you, Dame. How much of that do you put on coaching versus the player? Because I also feel like the special ones, the ones that are able to move to a higher level this game, kind of have that in them as part of the love of the game. Because I feel like that was a part of the love of the game for me to want to learn. I had Magic to look up to where he was running point, even though I was a big. I wanted to be Magic. He was 6'9", I'm 6'9". I want to make plays. I want to do things that are special. So how much of that is coming from the player or being inspired by the coach?
I think it should be a mixture of both. You know what I mean? The player should want to be able to do things that make them the best that they can possibly be. The coach, his job is to bring out the best that player can possibly be. So if you guys have a common goal of being great, it should blend together and come out. Now, you got coaches who destroy kids because they want them to do what they want to do and not what the kid is developed to do. Do you think that that's a true statement, TJ?
Sometimes intentionally or not, I don't know. Every scenario and every case is different. But what I will tell you is what I do find a lot is that a lot of times it's either inexperience or they just don't know what they don't know. I mean, I say that often. They don't know what they don't know. And that's no different for a player when they come in and you're trying to show them things or teach them things. And it's like, man, this seems simple. But at the end of the day, they don't know what they don't know because nobody's shown them or nobody's taught them. The other thing I can say, different from boys, definitely from girls, boys watch basketball, right? We all watch basketball. We watched when we were kids. We watched it, like I said, every weekend. We watch it, right? So we can be creative. We can think on our own and think outside the box. I don't see, at least in my experience, I don't see a lot of girls that watch the game. And I mean, watch it consistently and watch to go out on their own and be creative and try to do things. I feel like there's a lot more teaching involved on the girls' side versus the boys. The boys all think they're Steph and LeBron. Girls, they want to be taught. And I think a lot of it's just from watching the game.
I agree with you there, buddy. Because Storm, you know this. We played double dribble for 3 or 4 hours or watch basketball for 3 or 4 hours. And then it's like, okay, well, let's go do it for real. And then we're out there, we're playing. We're
trying to do what they did. Let's go try to do what they did.
Man, do you know I had to text McKenzie damn near every time the Olympic team played. You know the girls teams play, right? Oh, yeah? What channel? Where channel is that at? She loves the game, but don't care about watching it at all. And it's not even just the basketball. They don't even watch the WNBA either. They just don't watch it.
Yeah,
that's facts.
I got a question for you. So, which do you think is more popular right now in the game, the NBA level? Dunking on somebody or a step back 3-pointer?
Crazy too.
I guess that kind of. Go ahead.
Nah, go ahead.
No, I guess that kind of depends on the player. You know, me, I like dotting an I with the 3, but there was nothing like putting a boy on the poster, man. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like, especially on a drop step. Yeah, back when they had posters. Yeah. There's nothing like, you know what I'm saying? You get the ball in the paint and you get a good, strong power dribble, drop step, and you just, testicles in the mouth. You know what I mean? That's kind of his. I mean, there's something different about it when you put a boy on the poster. I mean, it's cool to shoot the 3, you know what I mean? Leave it up there hanging, you know what I mean? Nets hook on the other side. You got the metal net so you hear that ching, you know what I mean? But there's nothing like the roar of the crowd when you sit on a boy's head.
I'm going to take a different take. I feel like it depends on the individual person. me and Dame may be dunking because it's feasible for us to be able to do that and replicate that. For a shorter person that can't dunk, it may be Steph Curry. But I enjoy Steph Curry just like I enjoy the game, and that is spectacular to be out 50 feet, throw the shot up, turn around, and I like the showmanship of Steph, right? So I like that, and he kind of flirts with that line of cocky versus arrogant, because you can ask Dave, I don't like arrogant. I don't like arrogant, but I definitely applaud being confident. And the way he portrays it is confident. So I feel like it's a person-to-person thing. So you'll get people who think they can bang or can't bang like that aspect, and then you'll have the ones like, well, I can't dunk anyway, but I can shoot
that thing.
Yeah, I can shoot that thing.
Hey, Storm. I agree on the showmanship. You know what I mean? That shit is great. I love it. But damn it, man, when you sit on a boy like Storm, he can testify because he set so many people up over the years here in the city and the state of Indianapolis. Because one, he's a big. So when the big gets the ball in the paint in the playground, what do? They immediately double team him. Well,
or turn their head, or really,
turn their head.
It got to a point where all they needed to do was to just turn their head and not look at you.
Yeah, just do this, and I'm gone the other way. I mean, spins off the backboard, catching them, lobs in the air, all that. All you have to do is just turn around. That's why I love playing with him. But me being a hybrid, a post and a guard, hey, it wasn't like stepping back and dotting the boy eye for game. I know TJ. I mean, I know Chad. I know you experienced some of that at the Jordan Y. With the Dirk highlights.
Oh, I love shooting the three and hitting the three, but there's nothing like dunking on somebody. That changes everything. That changes your day.
Yeah,
the best. BJ has to say. What does BJ have to say?
Hey man, it depends on where, like you said, it depends on where you at in the moment. To me, I'm sure y'all saw the Trae Young video that went viral. If you haven't, get a chance to look at it. My brother was there. That was his video that actually made the video for overtime. He shoots for them. But, I mean, just in that moment, it's all about the atmosphere. If you got Trae Young down 2 with 3 seconds left on the clock, obviously the 3 is going to be the most important thing. But there's nothing like, seeing LeBron James dunk over Jason Terry in the middle of the NBA playoffs, something like that. But I don't know. To me, it's all about situational for sure.
What was yours, TJ? Because you did both.
But yeah, no, I mean, I was an inside out. I was probably coming into college 6'9", about 200 pounds, but I could get up and down the floor. I could shoot it. I could certainly dunk it. But the best ones, we used to play with the pros a lot, and that's all we would try to do in college. Like the Pacers and all the overseas guys would come in every time. We talked a little bit about this with Rutland. And I mean, that's all you would try to do is sneak on somebody based on whenever you could. And then the reality is it didn't happen very often. I'll be honest with you. Trying to dunk on Rick Smits and Detlef Schrempf and Dale Davis and Antonio just didn't work.
I agree.
But you certainly tried, right? You certainly tried it. If Vern Fleming or Pooh Richardson was down there, you're going to try to get them. But the bottom line is when you hit somebody and you get that extra lift, right? You actually look like you can jump higher than you really actually can, and you get that lift, and then you're up in place you shouldn't be. That's when those are the good ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey man, I can attest to trying to dunk on NBA players. Man, I was playing down in NIFS. Y'all remember when NIFS was the shit down off the IUPUI
campus?
Oh man, he's talking
5 days a week.
Man, talking about balling. Hey man, I caught the ball on the wing and gave a good pump jab. It went to the rack 3 steps. Storm, if I get 3 steps, I'm putting anybody on a poster. So I'm thinking, I'm fresh. My boing is still good. I'm good year and a half out of college. I'm still technically in the best shape of my life. I went to go get him. Yeah, I think my back still hurt from that. 7'4" is 7'4", dog. He's a big boy.
Solid 7'4" too. Solid 7'4".
Yeah, man, that was. But yeah, I grew up in the Kemp era. That was my guy. You know what I mean, Sean Kemp. So any chance, and then he was the point at you. So any chance that I get to put a boy on the poster, I'm going. You know what I mean? If I'm on the 3-point line, I know I got the shot. But if I can pump fake you and go to the rack, if I got 3 steps on me, I'm getting anybody in the city.
Or getting fouled.
Or getting fouled, or you get dunked on and fouled. So
because there was
don't matter
times
to
with
me.
me and Damon, there were times when me and TheOne was on opposite teams, and I know I fouled. Either foul or let them go.
Hey, I'm putting
and
in the wall.
Hey, go back to the arrogance and cocky. I agree with that, and I'll guarantee you, if me and Storm wasn't cool, he wouldn't have liked me. Because I was talking shit. I was talking shit, and I'm in your face, all of that. But you can't do it if you can't back it up.
Who can still do it?
Well, I can't now. I mean, I can shoot. I can still shoot. That's about it.
I can still pass.
You know, if we want to play horse, if we want to play horse, I can do that all day. But if you talking about getting on the court, Storm, I think I played with him my last time. We played in the Macker. That was it. I was done. After that toilet bowl, our first toilet bowl ever. I ain't played since.
I tell you, I was playing pretty heavily with a lot of 20-year-olds until I was about 43, 44. And then I had a couple of my boys go down with some Achilles. And after that, man, I'm like,
nope.
I just that freaked me out.
Took it as a sign.
Nah, it's time to get out.
I'm going to stay in shape, but I'm not going to try to get up down with 20-year-olds anymore.
I've already had one partial ankle reconstruction, and I got a replacement on the way. So, yeah, I'm done. Unless they can give me a robo leg, then let's go get it. Little tink tink. Hey man, does anybody got?
I just want to say I feel like this should be just the first installment. We definitely need to. There's so many things that we didn't get to cover that I definitely feel like needs to be covered. I just want to keep Big Man in the light somewhere where they still talking about Big Man in a positive way. So, with that being said,
Big Man's not dead.
Let me say this, Stormy. One coach said it best. You know what? Athletes get tired. Length never gets tired.
Right? You can't teach it. You can't teach it.
It's still effective at all levels.
7-foot wingspan is still a 7-foot wingspan.
Around it, you go with it.
But Storm, I like where you went with that, because the goal for this is to create, a panel, a round table of basketball fans, coaches, or just us who just like to talk the game. So the goal is to create a panel of a round table that we can get on here, once a month and talk things basketball. Development of the 3-point shot. Should it be moved out further? You know what I mean? Should it be another point added? Those type of discussions. You know what I mean? Should we address the fact that the NBA tries to change the rules of basketball and then these kids go practice and shit and think it's real?
Right. Gosh.
Think it's actually a part of the game.
Like really, there is no such thing as a breakaway foul or clear path foul anywhere else in basketball. But I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. But that's the goal. The goal is to create a panel of individuals who like to talk basketball and get on here once a month or so and just talk ball, man. So anybody got anything else before we go ahead and cut this out? I know it's Labor Day weekend. I got shots. Wife's handing me beer. I know I cooked the brisket. I got some Hamanaki wings. I'm going to throw on the grill. It's time to get down.
Oh, you got to send the address.
Like I said earlier, he can cook.
Hey,
there's no doubt.
Before we do leave, I do want to give a shout out to the people that listen to Louis. What was it? Oh my gosh! It just went through the hurricane. I just want to give shouts out to them.
Louisiana.
Help them out. Louisiana. I don't know why I keep thinking Louisville, but Louisiana. If anyone can look out for them, they went through a lot. We all Americans, we come together. As much as we love sports and basketball, we also like our human race. So Just if anyone can reach out, I know the Red Cross is doing things like that. That's all I got.
Oh, humanitarian storm. We got to get him a new tag. No, but
helping the people.
No, there's nothing wrong with helping the people. Hey, I thank all of you guys for coming on and hanging out with us. You know what I mean? Once we get the next subject matter together, we'll put it together. We'll make sure we'll get all this interview or this show broadcast over all our social and then reposted and all that things to get you guys' voice out there. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us for a while. So if that's all we got, we go ahead and close this thing out.
Hey, appreciate it. As always, had a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
Take my shots.
Sure, for sure.
Go Blue.
Cheers.
Go Pokes.
Cheers. So
Irish
there you
tonight.
have it. Oh, yes, I'm watching that game. Hey, did I not call? If you guys watch our football show, did I not call the UCLA LSU game on point?
Did you have IU winning?
Yes, I did. That was my upset game, and they just shit all over the place.
And go Blue.
And go Blue all day. So thank you guys for hanging out. This is another BW Sports One broadcast. State of basketball. Normally during basketball season, we're on every week, 2:00, every Sunday, 2:00, but it's the off season, so we're gonna come with you with special events. So thanks to TJ Perry, thanks for Chad Novinger, thanks for BJ McDonald all the way down in Oklahoma. Thanks to Big Storm and everybody else. I'm out. Ahala. See ya. I think I need to hit the button and I'm having trouble.